Well,
it's definitely the fastest car on the grid right now, hands down.
Hands down, yeah.
But is it as dominant as Red Bull?
If you like playing chess, this is chess right here.
Yeah.
On a racetrack, and Lando is winning the chess part of it.
Yep.
For sure.
I'm excited to see maybe Yuki drives better.
No, ESPN reported an hour ago Red Bull to replace Lawson with Tsunoda. Let's find somebody more reliable than ESPN about F1.
Formula
Planet
1.
F1, Red Bull make Liam Lawson decision with announcement expected. That was 3 hours ago.
Yeah. So Fred Vasseur came out and was like, they're creating drama in the broadcast and needs to stop. Like, simply put.
Laced up.
Let's go!
It's time for Banter with the boys.
Welcome back to Banter with the Boys Fast Laps, a show in which I may owe Lance Stroll an apology. I don't know. But anyway, Mike, thanks for being back here this week, brother.
Hello,
What's
I'm
up? I always go to Joe first, so I figured I'd
Yeah,
go to you this week.
you're throwing a wrench in my plans here. You're catching me so off guard. I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about F1.
What plans did you have? Were you going to beat up Joe? Joe's on his phone. He no longer cares about the pod.
We didn't need him anyway, so let's.
Word. Joe, what's going on, brother?
My mom's going to come pick me up. You guys are being mean to me.
Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared.
Dang, that was nice.
That was such a crazy. Before we started recording, the energy is already wild in this room. So it's
unnecessary.
But I mean, it's worth talking about. So I'm looking forward to talking about that, among other things, from the previous Chinese Grand Prix, and looking forward to Japan.
I love Japan.
Very much looking forward to the Japan. Maybe a certain Japanese driver on a different team for that race. Same team, but different. I don't know. Anyway, Kev also behind the scenes getting everything done. Just heads up right now, we do not have a show next week because Japanese GP is not this weekend, but the following. So next week we are actually going to be testing some other things for the show to enhance your listening and viewing.
We are a podcast. Yes.
Crazy.
Well, technically,
Is that what we're doing?
Technically, the test is just viewing. So,
Well,
if you're just listening,
no, there is an audio test involved.
you're right.
There's an audio test involved. We are
true.
going to bring something different. Anyway, that's next week. So anyway, the week after that, which is right after the Japanese GP, which you're used to hearing from us, right after the GPs, we will be back to talk about Yuki Tsunoda winning in Japan. I mean, so in a Red Bull.
I wish.
God.
That'd be so cool.
Things are just starting to spill out. So Kev, why don't we just head right into the China GP recap? Recap. So we're back. I'm gonna take about 20% off right there. I'm just feeling it today.
Let's take about 20% off.
Man,
there.
it's been a long day at work, and here we are. We're just happy to be back. Happy to talk some F1. Happy to talk about this Chinese GP. But we had a sprint. A sprint. All right, I just had to do it one more time. A sprint, though.
Yeah?
The first sprint of the year.
Do you like sprints?
I think they're pretty fun, actually. You get a little bit of action for half the time.
It definitely throws the weekend into like a little bit of a mix because
I don't like they don't get as much practice.
Yeah.
You know?
And practice where they probably could have used it because of newly resurfaced track.
Yep.
Really, really grippy. A lot. Like, I mean, we saw in practice one, I feel like there were a couple people that went off.
Multiple.
Definitely a couple of mishaps in the sprint itself. So, and a Red Bull in last place again in both the race quali and in the sprint quali.
Yeah.
Should I say typical?
Well, do you dare?
It's becoming.
Do you dare? I know.
I've established my disdain for Liam. I think that's okay. I can say typical.
Man.
Typical. Ouch. All right. Well, we'll touch on Liam in a little bit because we have a lot to say. But Lewis wins the sprint, and then also in the sprint shootout sets a track record.
He does.
I did not expect to see that.
This is the overall track record.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. That is something I did not expect or anticipate to see this weekend for sure. But I mean, again, we'll touch on Ferrari in a little bit as far as the GP goes. But they didn't do all that bad, and then it all went bad after the race, post race, but is what it is. I think. But okay, I'm just gonna get into it. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
Just kind of staying on the sprint for a second. Lewis dominated. He didn't lose a place.
sure.
He stayed in front, right?
I think Ferrari proved what they are capable of. I mean, you set a track record. That's still, you still gotta be fast for that. So,
and you did that with the guy who's only driving the car for his second weekend.
Yep.
So like the fact that the guy in his second weekend took that win, and also I think this was a big thing for both him and other people looking in. That was like coming off of the Melbourne GP and his performance in that Grand Prix, which wasn't fabulous. He comes in, and the first thing he does is goes in and wins a sprint and says, "Guess what, guys? I'm still Lewis Hamilton."
Yeah, no, 100%.
In case you guys forgot.
In front of a crowd that really, really loves Lewis, too. No matter what team he's racing for. Now
also
they're
just
all
loves
wearing
Ferrari.
red this year. Yeah, they do love Ferrari.
China loves Ferrari.
They do love Ferrari, but they also really love Lewis. Yeah, it's just
do.
a match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven,
For that
for
fun
sure.
fans in China. But moving on to the GP quali, Joe, I know you said you had just a couple notes, nothing too wild.
Yeah, I already mentioned Lawson, a Red Bull qualifying last. V-Carb looked really strong in qualifying. Oscar's first pole position.
You know what?
is
V-Carb
awesome.
looked really strong in the race, too. And
did.
we'll get to
We'll
why they
definitely
did
want
not
to talk about that.
finish strong. But
So Hamilton took lap record in his sprint quali. Oscar took lap record in his GP quali. So I believe Oscar now holds that overall record. That being said, just kind of doing a little bit of foreshadowing or race record still being held 2004 Michael Schumacher. So that has not been broken. I think we were still like 4 seconds off of that pace. So
I think I
4
saw that we were
seconds?
getting like I think
God,
fastest
that's
lap was a
unbelievable.
I think fastest lap was like a 1:35.0 if I remember correctly.
I can check.
And if I remember correctly, Michael Schumacher's fastest lap is 1:32 and some change. I don't remember the details of that one, but I remember seeing 1:32 and being like, "Really?
so you're thinking not 4 seconds.
Not 4 seconds, close." But
Well,
Joe is going to fact check me, and I appreciate that because I hate being wrong.
I got you.
maybe our hold music should be the Max Verstappen music. Instead of that, or
But like,
instead of Jeopardy,
like moved into elevator music a little bit.
Oh man,
Kev,
I
you have
wish.
an audio background. We'll figure it out. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We should continue on. It's going to take me a
All right,
second.
well,
Okay,
we're going to continue on then and talk about the GP, I think.
Sounds good to me.
McLaren sweeping. I mean,
yeah.
P1, P2. I mean, and they looked really, really dominant.
Until
I
the
mean,
last lap.
Yes.
That
until
was
the
a
last
little
lap.
awkward.
That's fine, but they were still extremely dominant.
Yes.
It's last week and this week, and honestly, it's starting to feel a little bit like this is wild. It's not there yet, but it's starting to feel like the 2022 Red Bulls a little bit. Just their pure dominance over everybody else. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm also going to say
Give you eyebrows.
in a little bit something about Mercedes and Ferrari both, but it is way too early to say it. But it is becoming eerily similar, the pure dominance,
I don't think it's quite the same.
because they would have been 1-2 last weekend too.
I think their car is probably close to as dominant as that Red Bull was at the time. Like, it's just a much faster car. But with all love and respect to your team, neither driver is Max Verstappen.
No, you're totally right. Neither driver is Max Verstappen, and I cannot deny that. And it's hard. It's hard to say that they were as dominant because that Red Bull was consistently 20 seconds ahead.
Yeah,
and
you're right. I was
Sure,
probably
which
being
is
hyperbolic.
fair.
McLaren is getting there
Team-wise.
but McLaren is getting there, but is that a fault of their car or of their drivers and not meeting Max's insane potential in a car, right? So it's definitely the fastest car on the grid right now, hands down.
Hands down, yeah.
But is it as dominant as Red Bull? I mean, I guess
It's way too early to say.
it's all like it's all
it's all for 2
comparative,
races
right?
in.
Yeah, it's all comparative to other cars in the grid too. Because I'm sure the McLaren now is more dominant than that Red Bull, but compared to the rest of the grid, they're not. Right.
Right.
They're still there, but not as dominant.
Yeah.
Now, not straight dominance, but I mean, if they do it again this weekend, well, I'm going to stand on it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's all year to make improvements. And again, I got some things to say about Mercedes and Ferrari both. They're going to be battling for sure at some point very soon.
Stricter wing rules come into effect Japan, so maybe they're not as fast anymore. Maybe it kind of slows them down slightly.
That's definitely a big footnote to keep an eye on this weekend.
I did think that I heard
next weekend.
I did think that I heard that McLaren came out and said that after the debacle last season, that they kind of laid off the flexi wing idea and focused on their development in other areas. They do have something of a flexi wing because I think pretty much all the teams do it to some regard at this point, but it wasn't like a major development point for them. So they were saying they're like, sure, the FIA can come in and do these checks and do whatever they need to, and we think we'll be fine. So McLaren is still feeling relatively confident in spite of that change. So that's great for them, and probably not the news that all the rest of the teams wanted to hear.
Well, and speaking of confidence, I mean, right out of the gate, and it was just pure insanity. Excuse me. Oscar very aggressively, trying to cut off George Russell. If I was George, I would have absolutely shat myself. But George was quickly running out of track and was, he was going to touch that wall, but just Oscar's move right off the line to me. I mean, oh man,
it was good.
Again,
it was good.
Again, for sure. No, it's exactly what you need to do. But again, like between him and Lando, it's going to be hard for either one to win the WDC, in my opinion.
Like, hold on. Sorry, you reset me for a second. It's going to be hard it's going to be hard to pinpoint which one of them could win.
For sure.
Or it's going to be hard for them to win.
I still think somebody else is going to win. I do. Because they're just going to keep flip-flopping wins. So listen to me. So if a third driver can get in there like Charles and start winning some races, or George at this point. But again, Mercedes, it's early in the season. Don't get me started. We'll get there very soon. But I don't know. I think that's going to become a problem.
I unfortunately
they'll win constructors. I think at the moment, if they continue to be this consistent, I think McLaren can win constructors. But I think WDC is going to be harder for a McLaren driver to win because they're both can be hand in hand either. Any race.
Yeah, it's literally.
But another driver would have to start. Being consistent. Right now, it's only George, but he can't catch the McLarens right now.
You're right. It is like it's a coin flip.
It's gonna be interesting.
Which
to watch.
one could get ahead? Like Oscar is.
Would that be weird for McLaren if Oscar wins one first?
I feel like that'll cause literal psychic damage to Lando Norris. I feel like if Lando's driving this car, has been driving it for so long, and then his teammate shows up, drives for 3 years, and wins a championship.
WDC. That's what I mean. I wonder if that would cause a rift for next season, or if we just see pure chaos between the two all next season.
Man,
we're gonna see it this year. I'm telling you, something's gonna happen. We're all buddy, teammate right now, but they're both gonna want it so bad that something's gonna happen. And again, like now this is a different situation, but a Danny, Rick, and Max, that short battle that was had, on the same team. That's what I envision. I hope not. There's a reason why Oscar signed a multi-year deal to stay. So. You would think he's in it for the team game, right? Too. Right. But at some point, he wants to win a WDC, and he is more aggressive than Lando, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I think that could be the edge of him beating out Lando for a WDC.
I agree.
That's interesting.
Think Oscar is more aggressive.
I need more races to make that determination. I think we're out of the gate.
3 years.
The last 2 years, you could still see the rookie in him.
Yes,
you could still see the
Definitely
refinement
still
that
makes
needed.
A couple
I have not seen those issues this year yet from him. He's been driving solidly. Granted, Australia, that's kind of a wash. It was just a really bad position 100%.
to
be in.
And he would have finished too, though.
Yeah, he
that's
would have.
That's the thing.
100%.
So, and again, more of that rookie mistake coming out by overcorrecting, right?
Yep.
So
from our expert analysis of the situation,
I am an expert.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I just need a few more races to really see if he is aggressive. Lando's fixed his starts, so I'm pretty sure we'll probably still see 1 or 2 starts where he's messing up, but he's started really well.
So, to argue his point and to kind of loop back to what we brought up earlier, the start from Oscar almost perfectly mirrors the start that we saw from Lewis in the sprint, where Lewis, the first thing he did is he started and he cut immediately to the right, cut off Max Verstappen. And then we look back at the GP and we see Oscar. They come off the line, and the first thing Oscar does, I'm gonna cover off George Russell.
I see that less as an aggressive move and more as the move you need to take.
I just think the
So
way
what does that say about-
if anyone is in that
aggressive.
position,
I would agree.
If anyone is in that position and they get a good start off the line, they're going to do that. They have to, or else they
Right.
lose a spot because it's inside.
It's just,
Yeah, okay.
But just the way he went about it, though, for me, it's just not the first time he's been aggressive, though.
Sure.
Towards the end of last season, Oscar was getting super aggressive and taking chances he wasn't taking earlier in the season, getting more comfortable in the car, and in his own skill level. And I don't know. I think it's...
He was getting into a little bit of
be
trouble
fun.
last season, like
For sure.
end of last season.
For sure.
So,
By being too risky.
Yep.
But you got to take risks to win championships is what
That's
it feels
true.
like.
Yeah,
and that's
that's
what
true.
old Max Verstappen has been doing.
That is what Max does.
You know,
I think
I'm not saying he's driving just like Max Verstappen, but there's flashes
Yeah,
where you're
no.
like, whoa.
I was thinking about this while I was on lunch earlier, and I was like, I really feel like Lando has this very different like way that he's taking on these races where he just is generally less aggressive. I see him like he isn't going for these big lunges that you see other drivers doing as consistently, but he's taking his time and he's waiting for the opportunity, and he's taking these tires further than other drivers are, and he's kind of playing this longer game where he's like, I'm not going to do something crazy and get ahead of you right now, but those tires are going to go out and mine won't. And he's got that confidence that he like takes it further, and he plays this very methodical game.
Because he knows their car's
Versus
fast. He is
something like-
very patient right
Exactly.
now. Which has been fun to watch. It is more methodical.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
opposed to somebody like Max Verstappen who says, look, I'm going to put it up the inside line, and if you got a problem with it, here's my
Back
side
out.
pod.
Or back out.
Or back out.
We're
Like-
going to play chicken and I will win.
And I will win. You will fear the sight of Max Verstappen in your mirror. So I think that's kind of where those two differ. Is
Lando
like,
has matured in that sense, though. Like,
You're
he
right.
is waiting more for the right opportunity, which is enjoyable if you like that sort of racing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Again, if you like banging and booming, this isn't the place for that. Now, if you like playing chess, this is chess right here,
Yeah.
you know, on a racetrack, and Lando is winning the chess part of it.
Yep.
For sure. Oscar's playing chess like me, just going for it and whatever. Anyway,
I think I'm realizing as we're talking about this, I'm too sensitive about the McLaren boys. I just
why?
don't want
What
to
do you mean?
assume.
I'm getting offended.
I could probably sit here all day and make assumptions about the rest of the drivers, but I think we got to keep in mind for everything, and this is for me too. We're on race 2,
100%.
Right.
100%.
You are correct.
But we have a podcast to hold up, Joe. We got to talk about. We got to generate
And for
stories.
that, I'm going to say Lance Stroll, man,
WDC this year.
not
That's my
WDC,
man.
but, but
Foil.
no, I think I do see your point, and you're right. Lando 100% is not being like, he's not going for the move right away. It was a little hard for him. I think he was struggling with the car during the race, so it wasn't easy for him to make it. And the car just outlasted the other cars around him, and that's when he made his points. But you're right. Oscar, I think just in general has been a bit more aggressive, so I'm looking forward to seeing if that continues. And when it comes to who's WDC, I mean, Oscar definitely
Charles
can't be counted
Leclerc,
out.
No, yeah.
Right? Charles needs to step up.
Charles
No, we'll talk
is
about Charles.
struggling.
Hey, we'll wait. Anyway,
We'll wait.
we
get
do
to
got to move on though. Mercedes, we'll be talking about McLaren all year, I reckon. But Mercedes, George getting P3, Kimi with the
George.
P6 after the DQs, but Kimi with the P6.
Pretty good.
Driver of the
At
day
the
as
end.
well.
Driver
for
of the day.
some reason.
Dude, and I saw as soon as it popped up, I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
And he should again. Back to your point, he should have been driver of the day last week.
I think it just
100%.
like it was just delayed from the weekend prior. They were
That's
like,
what I'm
everyone was
thinking.
like, "Ah, crap! I was supposed to vote for Kimi last weekend.
give it
What's
to him
wrong
this
with-"
weekend,
We'll
yeah.
give it to him this
I don't
weekend. Let's do
know.
that.
Man,
I don't
Oscar
know.
should have gotten driver of the day last weekend. We'll give it to him in Japan.
We'll
He
give it to him.
DNF'd, but we'll give it to him
We'll
in
give
Japan.
it-
yeah, right.
Yeah, even he on the radio said, I don't why? Why did that happen?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know why I got it.
But again, 2 races in, like we've already stated. So this is really, I'm not even grabbing the tinfoil hat for this. But Mercedes, with, Antonelli is becoming a dark horse to fight for that second spot in constructors. I still think it'd be challenging to catch McLaren if you're Mercedes. But, I mean, it's becoming a real possibility when you start looking at the second drivers. No offense to Lewis. I do consider him the second driver at Ferrari.
That's fair.
Today, right now. But But like Kimi's performing right now, and again, 2 races in, Mercedes also again performs a lot better at the beginning of the seasons compared to, you know, say like the last couple seasons. It feels like Mercedes comes out the gate fairly hot, and then they kind of trickle off, and then they kind of pick up after break a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen them, I think, go both ways, where in the start they'll either they become strong or become weak. I feel like that we've seen them both ways. But George, incredibly consistent. I would not have ever put him in 2 podiums in a row right out of the bat, right out of the gate, right off the bat, out of the gate.
Yeah.
I think I definitely see him. I don't see him, unfortunately, fighting for wins, but I see him definitely consistently fighting for podiums.
I think he wins at least one this year.
Oh, 100%. I'm not, but I'm saying consistently fighting for wins, probably not. I think that's just gonna go to naturally the McLarens.
Well, until they start wrecking each other, right?
Yes. Oh, God, don't. If they start wrecking
that's
each
what
other.
I'm talking about, fellas.
I don't want to get back to McLaren.
I do want to bring up.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up. You said Hamilton is the number 2 driver, and I was like, isn't Hamilton leading in WDC right now? And he is ahead of Charles Leclerc by 1 point.
That's fine.
That doesn't make him the lead driver.
That doesn't make him the number 1 driver.
Look, I'm saying
we'll get to why I think
arguments.
Charles is going to be the number 1 driver.
So wait, are you saying Lance Stroll's the lead driver?
Look, I mean, numbers are numbers. Numbers are numbers. I
He
mean,
keeps coming up, boys.
Fernando
That's all I'm
Alonso
saying.
has watched what's happening.
Definitely over Alonso
yeah.
Sonny.
I think we said that Lance Stroll was going to be WDC this year, so that's like.
I didn't say that.
No,
Did you say that?
I'm sorry, I take that back.
I think it was Joe that made the joke that Lance is just going to wake up this year like, nah, I'm just going to start driving.
That's what it feels
so far
like.
it feels like that's exactly what's going on.
He hasn't made. I don't think he's made really any mistakes that I can remember at the moment.
No, seriously, we might as well just mention Aston real quick. No, seriously, he just Lance is not lancing.
No.
Like he's becoming Sir Lancelot in a way instead. Like, wait, did he die? Like a horrible death, or was he successful?
Did we put somebody else in the car and just pretend that he's Lance?
Take off your helmet.
Oh my god.
Take off it.
No,
Lance,
but I mean,
no, I can't.
Last week again, the anomaly. What did we call it? The something anomaly. I can't remember what we called it.
The race anomaly. Yeah, it's just.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Wet.
Yeah.
Anomaly wet is what we kept saying.
Yeah.
But so he did well there, given the circumstances. Yes, obviously he gained, a couple with the DQs.
He wouldn't have gotten points if without those.
But he is battling right there though with everybody else.
He is fighting, and he was like notably in the sprint holding Lando Norris.
He was
pretty much the entire sprint.
No, he wasn't. You mentioned this, and he was not holding Lando. Lando was not catching him.
Okay, well,
Lando himself was not catching him.
Yes, he was holding a pace ahead of Lando until his tires started going out.
But once Lando caught up to him, he overtook him.
Yes, pretty handily. Yes, you are correct.
But he was. You're right. He was not. He was
keeping the pace.
Yes.
So
he's not losing time.
It's better than I would have expected out of a Lance Stroll.
Yep. Sorry.
But no, that was great.
I apologize.
No, it's all good.
Are you okay?
Hey, that's fine.
Since we're on Aston, just bring up rest in peace, Fernando Alonso. He's not dead, but
we gotta stop
saying that. That's my fault.
We gotta stop acting like these people are dying.
I said rest in peace, and the moment I did, I was like, why did I say that?
Pour one out for him, man.
He's my favorite rookie on the track.
Too soon.
Yeah, right. No, but Alonso retiring for a precautionary brake issue.
How did he do in the sprint? Was he wasn't in?
No, not good.
He was struggling.
Okay,
not good.
We need to see him.
He's had a
he
rough
needs to
start to the
finish a
season.
race so we can properly see where the Aston Martin is, because I don't think it's definitely not the best car, but it's also not the worst.
But
car.
if Stroll's able to start, he's competing just fine with quote unquote the best of the rest. So
yeah,
I mean, you'd argue Fernando should be finishing P6, P7 pretty consistently if he can get a good drive.
Yeah.
In theory, right? Yeah. Let's see. So we just kind of jumped around a little bit. So let's go back up to Red Bull. We don't need to spend a ton of time. Well, we got to spend a little bit on Liam. But Max finishing P4, Liam P12 after the DQs. Max, again, just driving the crap out of the car.
Yep.
Doing what he's got to do. But Liam, So what are the news? What's the news that you guys have heard? Obviously, there's rumors out there.
I did put him in news. Do we just want to talk about Liam?
100%. We
Let's
might
do
as,
it.
we
Let's
might
rip
as
the
well.
Band-Aid off.
It's
gonna come up.
It has not been confirmed by Formula One, by himself, by Red Bull. It has not been confirmed. However,
Has Twitter confirmed it?
there are multiple news sources saying that from paddock sources, Yuki will be taking his spot for
we're
the
a-
Japan Grand Prix.
We're a paddock source.
Right.
Oh, I don't know about that.
We're
You can trust us.
We're a couple 100,000 miles away, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, you
aren't
can
you
trust
inviting
us.
me
We're
to the
there
paddock?
every week.
Huh?
Why aren't you inviting me?
You're
to the
there.
paddock?
Trust me. You just don't
Oh,
remember.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. Wow. I must be getting really drunk.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. If it does happen, cool. Get Liam back in the car that he should have been in, and put
Correct.
Yuki in the car that he should have been in.
And then you can start liking Liam
And then
again,
I can keep disliking Liam.
Oh, okay.
Until we get rid of Liam and put Danny back in the car. Oh, excuse me. What was
jeez.
that?
That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to me there.
If Danny comes back, it'll be in a Cadillac, buddy.
Oh boy. Yuki. I'm excited to see.
Whoa.
Maybe Yuki drives better. You know?
No, ESPN reported an hour ago Red Bull to replace Lawson with Sonoda. Let's find somebody more reliable than ESPN about F1.
Formula
Planet
One.
F1, Red Bull make Liam Lawson decision with announcement expected. That was 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, like it's incredibly possible it doesn't happen. We saw it with Checo. Like we saw the same thing happen with Checo and him being booted out, and it didn't happen until the last.
This is probably
until the end of the season.
so ESPN is probably reporting the news sources that you saw.
Yeah.
It's saying Dutch newspapers.
yes,
Yes.
The Telegraph and De Limburger. I definitely said that wrong. Probably
Isn't that what Colin said?
would
that
swap
earlier?
maybe
seats with.
Yeah, I think
Lawson.
so. He sent. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
So I was gonna come to this pod after watching the China GP and ask how many more races does Liam get before they swap him, and that answer was pretty much. I actually think because of all the sources, or rather because of everyone reporting it, it's pretty likely to happen, and I think we're actually going to see a message within the next couple days that it's going to happen.
You think so?
I think so.
don't
But if this is just all guffaw and it's not real,
Yeah, it looks like ESPN just trying to be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
They're saying reports are stating.
yeah,
They're not
exactly.
actually
No
claiming.
one's site,
But it's on
No
all
one is
over.
confirmed. If it does not happen, how much more can Red Bull handle this? Like is this his last race? If he does not get points, is Yuki for sure in? Like, what do you guys think?
think-
Like, what is their breaking point?
Yeah, Liam needs to. You need to score.
Yeah.
You need to score points. Yes, the car's hard to drive. We know that. Yes, Max Verstappen's a multi WDC champion. We know, but you got to score points. Checo was scoring points in the car.
He was.
You know, you got to at least be scoring points.
Right now,
That's
Checo
it.
and
That's like bottom line, dude. There's a reason why we put you in the Red Bull instead of Yuki, instead of Isaac, which wasn't an option per se. But, you know, we put you in the car. You have to be scoring points. And Yuki Tsunoda has been driving outstanding. He got screwed over by strategy this race. We'll touch on that. Might as well touch on that here in a minute. But,
yeah, it's I feel like all Checo and all of his fans right now are just sitting with the smuggest looks on their face. Like, we told you
Oh, yeah.
there was a problem
That's
with the
why
car.
Checo will be back
and
in F1.
you all said that Checo was the problem.
we'll be back in F1. Yep,
I do actually
stand
agree.
on it.
There's no tinfoil hat here. I do actually agree with him. I think
There is a
I think
tinfoil
we will
hat here. He's
see.
just not wearing it.
I think we will see Checo in Cadillac next year. I agree.
Sorry, you guys are messing with my brain. I don't know why we're talking about Cadillac right now. 'cause
I don't know. It's just-
it's
look,
not
he
going to
brought
be.
it up, and
It's
now
not going to be Checo.
the-
It just
the
won't be. It's
hamster
not
in my
going to be
brain is
Checo, and
happy.
it's not going to be Danny Rick. I can tell you that much.
I agree. It
It's
won't be Danny.
one of the two.
Neither of them are going to be racing next year in
crazy.
F1.
It will be Sergio.
What do you got?
This is in relation to Red Bull and Racing Bulls. We probably should just mention them next because we're
Yeah,
already talking about
that's
them.
cool.
But Marco,
Oh, I know what you're going to bring up.
I want
Lay
to
it.
get your sole reaction to this. Yes, Max could finish the season at Racing Bulls as the V Carbo 2 looks faster than the RB21.
Quit talking, dude.
No way.
Our boy Helmut Marco.
Helmut said that?
Helmut said
Helmut
that.
said that.
No way.
Yeah, this guy should not be allowed to talk to news
This
sources.
dude is yapping.
Come on, Grandpa. Let's bring you back to bed. Come on.
Yeah, it's time to.
You know how insane that sounds?
I can't.
Old man yells at clouds. You know, it's crazy, dude.
God, that'd be hilarious. That'd be so.
I do. Okay, I do want to point out one thing. So, like, we've talked a lot about the one team having 4 cars thing, right?
I'm trying to seriously imagine
I mean,
that.
it brings up serious. I'm sorry. I'll let you finish your point.
Yeah, so like we've talked a lot about the one team having 4 cars thing, right? And I've kind of turned a blind eye to like them being the development team, you know, VCAR being, you know, the rookie team. But now that the rookie team is maybe faster than you, you can't just go move your lead driver to the faster car.
Why can't
'Cause
you?
now
You have 4
quite
cars.
literally
Why
have
can't you?
4 cars.
Yeah, right. So why can't you?
At this point, and doing it mid-season, like maybe if you're like,
We're
boy,
2 races in.
At
Where's
this
our
point, if you're like,
logo? Our logo's on the car, though.
at this point, if you're like, oh well, you know,
It's a white Red Bull.
the V car looks faster. We'll move Max next
Sugar-free
season.
Red Bull. What?
That's fine, right? So yeah, this gets me
I
heated
agree with
too.
you.
I don't
This
like
is,
it.
and I think I talked about it at length last season. I ranted last season.
did.
It's a team with 4 cars on the grid, and you can't like defend it.
No, you can't.
You can't defend it. Yes, you bring newer drivers into that lower team so they can prove themselves and then maybe move them up,
but they
just
have
so
a
you
different
can swap them
development
back down
department.
because the main car is actually the issue all along, and you built a car for a
Grumpy
once in a
old man.
lifetime driver.
Yep.
Right, and no one can live up to that.
Yep.
The idea that Max Verstappen
No. Just no.
I want them
No.
to put Max in a V car just for one race and to see if it keeps up pace. And then they're like, "What do we do now?"
They're gonna be like, you know what? Screw it. For Japan, you know what? Yeah, Yuki. You know, why don't you come up? We'll put you with we'll put
my God,
Max with
okay.
Isaac instead.
How crazy would it be if the Liam thing is all right, but like it's not, or the Yuki going to Red Bull
no.
thing is right, but it's not Yuki swapping with Isaac, it's Yuki,
Yuki
swapping with Max.
Yep.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing,
So
dude.
good, bro.
God, that would
I
make
actually
you
would
feel
love to see
worse
that.
as
Yeah.
Liam. I think.
Yeah.
But why would you take Yuki out of the faster
We're
car?
gonna
So
give
it'd
you
be-
a car that cannot be
That's
driven by
crazy.
anyone except for Max. We're gonna put 2 people who've never driven it before.
We're gonna put 2 not Max.
I would even settle. I know I just said Max driving a V car for one race. I would even settle for Max testing in a V car.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
that would be so
Oh my
funny
God. Okay,
because that
let's-
means they're thinking about it.
Let's stop talking about Max and a V car for today. This
is amazing.
Anyway,
Oh, but really quick. I mean, Yuki strategy messed up. He was in for a really good race. Isaac got P11, which is great. I'm really happy he got to
Isaac
finish the
actually
race.
raced really well.
He raced really well.
in comparison to some of the other rookies. Isaac raced well. I'm
Yes.
very curious to see. Duhan. I'll mention Alpine right after this. Tie it in real quick. Jack completely messed that turn up at the. What an idiot!
You got some thoughts
Like-
about Duhan.
Like, I was
I
gonna
was
try to.
heated.
I was gonna try to support him, literally until that moment. I'm like, dude.
Bro is something
I
against
do
other
that
cars.
on Xbox, homie. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Bro is something against the kicks, I think. He just
I don't
hates
know
them.
what the heck, man. I'm like sitting here watching him like in the sprint, and he just murders both the kick drivers. I'm like, what is happening? Leave them
Jack
alone. They're
is-
struggling enough as is.
Jack's having a tough go. Pierre Gasly DQ'd after the race.
Yep.
that's right. He
car
also
was
DQ'd.
car was
Yeah.
underweight.
Yeah.
The car is supposed to weigh 800.
Okay, so one thing I want to point out for the cars that were underweight, what I heard was it was because a lot of those teams were expecting 2 stops.
Yep.
Correct.
And so they fueled
everybody
the cars
switched to
for
one
2
other than V-carb.
stops. And they did not take 2 stops, they took 1 stop.
Right.
And so
Used more fuel.
They used more fuel and
Yep.
came in underweight. And that was where the issue came from.
They came in
same thing with
underweight
Charles
after
Leclerc.
draining the fuel.
Right, but they only take out so much, a specific
I
amount.
thought-
They take out like 1.5 liters or some. I can't remember
Yeah,
what it
I
is,
thought-
but they only take out a little bit. They don't drain the whole car.
Yeah.
Though.
I thought
And
they
then
have to leave some fuel in
Right.
for weighing purposes.
So either way, they're off by
It was
one.
It was not fuel. It was tire wear, because they
Is
were
what
on
they
a
were
one
claiming.
stop. They used more tire. Did not have the
Wow.
rubber on the car.
I thought one was one and one was the other.
Okay, this is specifically for Charles.
Yeah.
Specifically Charles.
I feel like Gasly might
be
have been a fuel thing, but yeah, Charles got caught up in it too. Both 1 kilogram.
That's
That's
feels
insane.
so bad, man.
That's insane.
I'd be so peeved.
And while we're at it, Lewis also getting DQ'd because, quote, plank on the bottom of Hamilton's Ferrari had worn beyond the permitted limit, end quote. ESPN.
so. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Lewis Hamilton during the sprint was actually talking about how he didn't have enough downforce in his car, and he was struggling in that regard. So Ferrari tried dropping his car a little bit lower to give him some more downforce, and that probably caused
That's probably
some of the
interesting.
shaving
Good
off
take.
of
I
some of the
bet.
shaving off and caused that problem. So
Nice, good.
I don't know
call.
if I
bet
just
that's
stole
probably
your-
no. I didn't even know they adjusted the car lower.
yeah,
No,
so,
that's awesome. Let's see. So we talked about Ferrari. Oh, I guess we haven't. So let's talk about Williams and Kick real quick, and then we can end on Haas and let him have his moment in sunshine and Haas bask in it.
I'm beaming.
Kick, that's about what we expect them to do, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Like even with the DQs, that's still about where they should be. Or at least battling.
Bortoletto made it into sprint quali 2. I don't think he made it into qualifying 2 though. So he was still showing some pace.
Yep.
Above some other drivers. So
Well done.
I'm still looking forward to seeing him race and do more.
yeah.
I think unfortunately the car is going to hinder him a lot, but maybe he can make something out of it.
Williams, Albon finishing P7, Carlos P10. Albon was actually having a great run too.
Yeah.
For a minute. Unfortunately, I can't. Why did he fall back? I can't remember because wasn't he up near P5 before, like early on in the race?
I don't
Where am I
know.
at right now?
Albon started 10th.
I'm about halfway through.
Oh, Albon started 10th?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I
So
thought
then
he got. I thought he
made
got
2
up a lot
positions then.
higher than that. At one point, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. But anyway.
Yeah, if that's the case, he made 2 positions then. That's
But
That's
Williams getting points out of the weekend from both drivers. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's DQs, but whatever.
You take those?
Yes, you do. You still take the points. They still count up the same.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So I guess we're on Haas now.
What a weekend. So,
Immediately gleams.
oh, I'm so smug. I'm just looking over across the table at a certain somebody who is saying Haas is going to be so bad. Look at how bad they were in the wet. And I was
Look
like,
at how bad they are.
look at how bad they are. No, I'm not. Hold on. We're not doing accents. But yes, like
Ocon had some pretty good pace all day.
All day. I do also want to point out the fact that Ollie drove incredibly. He put on medium tires and drove, I think it was 30 laps while overtaking 4 cars on mediums. And if we remember the sprint, drivers were driving 19 laps on their mediums and were crying at the end of the race saying that their tires were melted. And yet Ollie was able to drive 30 laps on mediums and still overtake 4 cars.
Rigged.
And and one of those cars I would like to point out was a Mercedes. It was Kimi Antonelli, another rookie that he is competing against. So the fact that Kimi Antonelli got overtaken by a Haas is kind of wicked. Looks kind of bad.
Just wait on it.
The guy that won Driver
fine.
of the Day.
It'll be fine. Which I do not
Antonelli
agree
finished
with,
ahead
but-
of Bearman.
What?
Antonelli finished ahead of Bearman.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
finished 1 position behind Bearman.
No,
No, he
Antonelli
didn't.
did
No, he
not.
didn't.
Antonelli finished P6.
Yeah.
Did he?
Ollie finished
Yes,
P8.
he did.
Oh, maybe I'm
P7
thinking,
was Albon.
oh, maybe I'm thinking of Ocon had passed.
No, yeah, he's dreaming at night
I'm
again.
dreaming.
is
I'm
what he's
dreaming.
doing.
Either way, it was
I'd
a
like
great.
to see how many of those overtakes were with new mediums.
Don't talk to me. But
But no,
nonetheless,
Haas
it was
has
a
some
great.
pace right now.
No, they do.
Double
It
point
was a
finish.
really good
And
race
it-
for Haas.
it's
Really, really
good to
race.
see. You know, I'm curious to see how they do these next couple weeks.
Yep.
Like, can their drivers now get in a groove? Because we knew
Yep.
the car should have some pace. It had some pace last year. We saw it multiple times. I know, Joe, but I have them still finishing 9th in constructors.
I
I
do
do
too.
You know,
I see fifth.
in front of Kick.
I definitely not
but at
fifth.
the moment, my team is
Hey, we're in 6th right now.
hanging out at bottom, which I did not expect either.
I was just
But-
looking at constructors. Williams is tied with Ferrari right now. It's insane.
But
Yes.
that will change.
It will change.
It will change.
100%.
That's gonna
Yes,
change.
It's going to change.
Like the fact that Charles was able to race the whole thing with a bunk wing,
Yeah.
and he was
We
driving
didn't
the
talk about
absolute.
that.
I know that's what I was
Yeah,
going
we
to bring up.
didn't-
I was
yeah.
like, I didn't look at any of my notes for any of these teams because we just went so crazy on McLaren. But like,
We're kind of
Yes,
all over the
but like
place.
Charles had a mega drive. Like
Yes,
seriously,
he
with a
did.
broken wing.
We were joking. It was like he's almost faster. Maybe this car is just
Seriously?
better with downforce going under the car.
I think one of the commentators made a comment saying like that
Yeah.
that because of how the downforce got changed, that it might have actually affected how the graining happens on the tires, and that it caused it actually extended his tire life a little bit. So that might have helped him. It might have actually worked to his benefit.
My incredibly amateur, non-technical thinking behind this is that the side of the wing that was down was also on the tire that was going to take the most wear, and because air was not being flowed to it, it was being flowed under it, and therefore not being pressed down into the ground more.
Can you pull up
Interesting.
the thing on there? I thought it was his right
pull that
tire.
up.
Pull it up.
What thing?
Why don't you pull it up?
Hey, pull
Which thing?
I want to see his
Pull it
broken. I want to see his broken.
Are you
wing.
all seeing this? Pull that up.
Yeah, everyone take a look at
Everyone
this.
seeing this?
Pull it up.
Because it was on
I
the
feel
side.
like it was
on
his
the tire
right wing.
that.
I think
Yeah.
it was his right tire that got broken. But maybe not though. I think he was on the inside line and got hit by Lewis.
No, he hit Lewis.
No, it's the left. It
Or
was
he
the left.
hit Lewis. No, I'm so sorry. You're totally
It
right.
was the left side of the way.
And I'm
It might
surprised
be.
Lewis didn't get a
you might
puncture
actually
from it, actually. Because he smacked the crap out of... I almost said something else.
they're
Smacked the
lucky for
crap out of Lewis's rear wheel, and I'm surprised he did not get a puncture from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they
me
got
too.
lucky for that just to get DQ'd later, but, whatever. It's right after this. Hold on.
While
Why'd
we're
you gotta
looking
bring
for
that
that too, I forgot to mention Yuki out of like his. So it's funny.
There
Yuki
it
out
is,
of
right
nowhere,
there.
his wing crumbling.
It's on the...
It's on the
driver-
left side. Yeah,
left
That's
side.
on the
left side.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Drivers.
Yeah, that's why I put driver's side in air quotes.
That's
and
so
that's how
funny.
you know that
we're
we're
the
from
only
America.
ones that listen
we're
to our
from
pod
America,
that
but
drive
also
from
it's
the
a
left
single
side.
seater.
That's why it's funny. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, we're really catering towards a
appreciates the humor.
very specific audience.
Yeah, well.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, the only other thing, Racing Bulls, Yuki on lap 46, his wing exploded.
Yes, we were talking about yeah.
That was insane.
That was crazy.
That sucks.
I think they just chalked it up to a load bearing issue.
I'm pretty sure Yuki was like,
Yeah.
"What did I hit?" They're like, "Nothing."
Yeah, one of my favorite comms that we heard is like,
Oh,
okay,
we got
Yuki,
comms, son.
you've got wing damage from what?
Yeah.
From what?
That was so funny. The way he said from what was
Yuki's
like
a little.
what?
He's a little angry fella.
He's actually not as angry this season.
He's kind of fiery sometimes.
He's been a lot more mellow this season.
It's funny though. It cracks me up. Oh wow! I even had
Shockingly
sprint
mellow.
notes. I should have looked at those. Awesome. Cool. Prepared.
Should we go back to sprint?
No. Let's see. To
Just
wrap
double
up the recap real quick, because this was again a long recap. That was McLaren's 50th. I'm sorry, 50th 1-2 finish.
McLaren.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And then Mercedes 300th podium.
I didn't know that. Very,
That's wild.
very nice. Cool. Very
wild.
nice.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
Dope.
All right, Kev. I'm sorry. All right, let's go into this other. Oh wait, we didn't have a transition for this one last time yet. We got to come up with that. Anyway, some good comms. What is Bearman's? I didn't see that one.
Ciao. Oh,
Ciao,
he,
yeah,
he,
he said
overtook
ciao.
two
Oh,
people.
yeah,
He said
okay,
ciao.
yeah, okay,
And
I
then
did see that.
he came out to the press after and apologized. He's like, I didn't realize those were being broadcasted. I'm sorry.
That's so funny. Ciao.
No, that's funny.
I love that.
Who put in Lewis giving
I
position to
also put
Leclerc?
that in. So this was a little slight controversy. Fred actually, their team principal came out and mentioned it as well. Lewis did, and the commentator said this too. Lewis did say that he would give position to Leclerc, but
Yeah,
they
catch
only
up.
broadcasted radio messages after that made it seem like he was against it.
Yeah.
When that was not the case.
Oh.
So it put Lewis in a bad light.
Yeah, it did.
Fred came out and was like, I don't know why they're broadcasting this to create drama when there is none
Because
whatsoever.
Lewis said, "Yeah, when he is closer," is what
Yep.
they broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes, and it made right. Your mind is like
Interesting.
he's not helping his teammate out. It's like no, he just doesn't want to slow himself down.
Yep.
which
That's-
is completely
that's messed
understandable.
up.
Yeah. So Fred Vasseur came out and was like, they're creating drama in the broadcast and needs to stop. Like simply put.
And I don't know if you noticed, but the F1 YouTube channel did actually release the whole comms
Good.
on YouTube, and they released it with like a note being like, "Look, we understand what happened. We understand that people are upset about this. We made a mistake. We'll keep this in mind moving forward. Here is the official comms, uncut from
Yeah,
Ferrari.
don't pick and choose.
Fred is
Yeah.
a man of the people.
We love Fred.
We
We
love Fred.
Fred this year.
Fun fact about Fred: did you know that he was Toto's best man at his wedding?
I did not know that.
so
Crazy,
cool.
right?
Wow. That
You
is
know that
funny.
they're all close, but that close?
Yeah, I knew they were
close.
all
That's
pretty
wicked.
much buds. Let's see. You said Yuki from what? We talked about that one. I have another one from Yuki. It was early on in the race. I think this might have been pertaining to like brake bias, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. But Yuki said, "I want to use more front. and they said, "We don't want you to," and he said, "Well, I want to," and then they responded, "Do what you need to do."
I forgot about that.
I saw that was my favorite.
That one cracked me up pretty hard.
That's awesome. I'm gonna start making notes of these because there's some really good ones.
I brought that one up when we were watching the race too, and I was like, "This is gonna be my pick for the best comment."
There was another one from Alex Albon that I did not get the quote yet. I gotta find it somewhere because it was funny. Now again, I'd be curious what the whole thing, the Lewis situation, but engineer was pretty much telling Alex his tire condition, and he pretty much said that he is good and that he is better than everyone else.
Oh, that was in the sprint.
Oh, that was the sprint?
Yeah, that was in the sprint. Yeah.
I have this in my GP notes.
I remember.
Interesting.
I remember seeing that, and he's like the engineer came on and was talking to him about his tire condition, and he goes, yeah, I get it, mate. My tires are great. They're better than everyone else, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. His exact quote: Albon's race engineer spoke on the team radio and said, "We're happy with the tires for now." But before he could finish his statement, Williams driver said, "Yeah, I'm good. I am better than everyone. Let's react. I'm very comfortable."
Yeah.
And that is
I just love
F1
it. I'm better
Overseer.
than everyone. Obviously, he's talking about the tires, right?
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but it's just funny how it came across. Like, I'm better than everyone.
That's funny.
But all right, Kev. With that, let's head right into our news. So a really quick news. Dang, is my hat cockeyed? I can't tell. I think
you're good.
Oh, now it is. All right, there we go. All right, for you Spotify listeners, my hat is now corrected. Not much news. We already talked about Liam swapping potentially, but FIA is considering V10s for 2028, but even possibly for 2026.
Nope.
That's pure insanity when you got teams already developing engines, at least for 2026.
Nope.
I did not know that this was a thing until I saw this on the outline.
This happened literally this happened after actually this first started coming up. The first rumblings happened after they revealed all the cars and they did their reveal show, and Ben Sulayem went up and the FIA went up and they got booed, right? And then afterwards, Ben Sulayem was like, "Hey guys, I'm cool, right? I'll bring V10s back."
Is that the lore?
Yeah, and
That's sick.
And so that's why he's like, "Guys, I'm gonna bring V10s back. Trust me." And now people are talking about oh, could we get it 2028, 2030, because we've got new engine regulations for 2026, right? And now there's talk about people being like, well, what if we did it for 2026?
That's pure insanity.
And all of everything I've been seeing is no, why would they do that? They would literally need to scrap the
everything,
last year and a half of development on an engine.
Your
on
whole
a power
net
unit.
zero by 2030?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
No, you can't. No, you can't. Exactly.
Your entire R&D department would just freaking
But the V10 defenders are trying to say, oh, well, V10 engines are easier to build and they're cheaper to build. Mechanically, they're easier than these hybrid engines, which are, which are more electronic based, which is true. It is true, but it's it's still an issue where it's an entirely new engine. It's an entirely new engine, and we're giving them less than a year to develop it.
Yeah, that's
chance.
That's not fair.
And especially when we've got multiple new teams coming in, like car developers, and part of the reason these car developers are here is to take the R&D back to their actual plants and use it. And if they're working on V10s, they got nothing. There's nothing for them to get out of the development. So
speaking of that, the very little research I did do on that was Audi already saying that if that happens, we're not coming.
Yeah.
I think they were one of their selling
straight
points.
Up not coming at all.
They mentioned
they have an
Audi has
out?
offered the clearest indication yet that is against Formula One abandoning its turbo hybrid engines. I think one of the selling points was Audi joining was because they could do a turbo hybrid engine, and then it wasn't a huge big block, right? So it just.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Is there an out in that contract, you think, though?
I feel like Audi can find a way.
Well, I'm sure. That's a
I think
good
pretty
point.
much every team has to have an out if they really want or need one. But
Audi's developing their own engine, and they're like, we're not going to develop a V10 engine, which is then you have to take someone else's engine.
Audi
Like, we
makes
don't
a
want
really
to do
cool
that,
V8,
right? Like,
Audi's like, we're not going to do that. And if you have, the FIA really wants Audi on the grid because they're like, Audi brings a lot of fans in, and Audi is like a big name, and like, so I think that's the reason why I've like, as soon as you brought it up, I was like, nope, it's not gonna happen. Like, like we won't see the V10 until like after 2030, bare minimum.
You heard it here. Mike says not till 2030 on the V10.
It's saying any move to delayed 2026 would require unanimous support, which is not going to happen. Yeah.
There's no way.
But I mean, they're saying it's fully sustainable fuels for V10s as soon as 2028, 2029. It
wouldn't be hard. Yeah.
Interesting.
I just man,
the fuel is already kind of there. Honestly, like the fuel is there for the V10s. It wouldn't be too hard in the fuel aspect, but like I said, we're just going to a new powertrain cycle. So like, we're going to have a new engine. All these teams have already started working on them. They're not going to throw away millions of dollars of development just to start from square one. For what? A louder engine?
Yeah, no. Right. No. It ruins my dreams of a Ford coming to F1 with an EcoBoost engine.
Stop. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I have a theory or rather a prediction that they could come and market it as EcoBoost, and it would be so funny if they did.
Okay, copy. Checo, activate EcoBoost.
I would just love to see EcoBoost decals.
That's what I want to see. Yeah, I want to see, because I mean, hilarious. Like, it is. I mean, they kind of already, like, I mean, it's very different from an F1 engine, but they make a twin turbo V6 engine already. Yeah. So it would make sense that they call it in some way an EcoBoost. It'd be dope. It'd be dope.
Yeah.
Dope isn't funny.
If Ford would have joined, would you become a new Ford boy? Would this be your team?
I don't know if Ford would be my team, but I would definitely.
He'd add a hat to the collection.
I'd love to see Ford in it. I mean, they've been in F1 before.
Could you see it?
I think they've won a championship for as well. At least one of their drivers has won a championship before in a Ford. So I would absolutely root for them. I doubt they would join it, considering the route they're going with their production and the route they're going with the racing and stuff. I don't know if it really aligns very much. So, I would definitely support them though, 100%.
Could you see a team that joins the grid that would make you replace your McLaren hat?
I don't think so. Simply because McLaren was already, like, even before F1, I had a lot of respect for McLaren.
Okay.
So when I joined it, they were just an obvious pick for me.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I think if Ford were in it when I started, it'd probably be a little harder to choose between the two. But yeah, McLaren has always been, just in any racing discipline, I've always gravitated toward them. So
Fiat.
Valid. That's Fiat for you?
Fiat.
Yeah.
No, I'm just throwing it out.
That's okay. I mean, no judgments. Everybody's got their thing.
What we're gonna do is move
Everyone's
on.
got their thing.
What we're
not gonna judge you here publicly.
This is a safe.
This is a safe space.
All right, Kev. Let's move right on to our Japan GP preview.
We are back with another preview into a race coming up. Not this weekend, but the weekend after. We're looking at Japan. I'm here to bring you up to speed.
Yeah.
This upcoming
intro.
This upcoming Japanese Grand Prix is called the Formula One Lenovo Japanese Grand Prix 2025. A fun fact. This is my fun fact from last year. Only figure 8 track on the calendar. This is a new fun fact. It was built by Honda in the 1960s as a test track. For their Honda cars. So that's pretty neat, right? All right, cool. Jumping into last year's Japan Grand Prix. Our starting grid was Max and Sergio, Red Bull 1-2, and Lando to Sainz. Lights out. Both Red Bulls get a great start ahead of the McLaren and the Ferrari behind. Both sets of cars going side by side into the first corner. Meanwhile, further down the grid, we see a Williams and a V-Carb touch through a corner and both end up into the wall at the S's. This brings out an immediate red flag and retirement for Danny Rick and Albon. We were starting the third lap, and the start was a copy and paste from the first one. Top 5, no change for the first corners. This includes a little bit of a kerfuffle between our favorite Alpine teammates. Yep, a little bit of a kerfuffle between our favorite Alpine teammates, Ocon and Gasly. Wheel the side pod on the starting straight. We watch on lap 13 our next Red Bull driver Yuki Tsunoda overtake on Alpine masterfully on the hard corners of the S's. Very difficult overtaking spot, making it look easy. Over the next 10 to 20 laps, we see a lot of overtaking from our Red Bulls and from Lando on the Mercedes and the Ferraris, as they all run slightly different strategies from each other. The Ferrari of Sainz overtakes the Mercedes in the lower end of the top 10 for a better position after pitting, followed by Piastri soon after. Mercedes on a long-running strategy compared to the rest of the top already having pit. On lap 26, Leclerc has a moment and goes off super wide on the turn before the overpass, quickly getting overtaken by Perez for his original spot and allowing Lando to quickly close the distance to third. If you are looking for a driver to watch this race, it is Yuki Tsunoda, making the track his own, emphasizing on an amazing pit strategy which put him in the top of the middle pack, and then fighting and overtaking again through the S's on Hülkenberg for the last point place. I had fun writing this next one. Logan Sargent finds some sand to play in on lap 42, coming out of the beach looking like he just built a sand castle and finds himself on the back of the pack. 2 laps later, Sainz overtakes the McLaren of Lando for 4th place after a late pit stop. This isn't the end of his day, however, as on lap 46, he makes the move on his teammate for 3rd. The action does not stop as we watch Russell go side by side Piastri, both fighting for the last corner before the straight and both having to bail out of a move. Piastri going off track and eventually giving the position back to George on the final lap of the race on the straight. Our finals: Verstappen to Perez, a Red Bull 1-2, Sainz to Leclerc, Norris to Alonso, Russell to Piastri, and Hamilton to Tsunoda. Red Bull's last and most recent 1-2 as of now. And
wow, that's their last 1-2.
Yes.
That does seem pretty wild.
It's all downhill from there.
But Checo did not do well after that. And Liam's not going to do much better. So, I mean, that's... And Yuki, again, doing so well.
Liam not doing better. Liam's...
I know.
I mean, Liam will do great in the V-Carb.
Yeah, right. Oh, man.
And so will Max.
Interesting. This is interesting. Not that it would affect my podium if Yuki was in the Red Bull.
Let's talk about
how
fun. Points turned out last weekend.
Yeah, I bet you want to talk about points, huh?
I actually, with like 3 laps left, I was like, dang, I got to look at my points. I'm curious if I did actually take these guys. I was like, I'm pretty sure I cleaned house.
Second race of the season, a perfect podium prediction.
A perfect 6. Perfect 6.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing. That was lucky. No, but I mean, I did not take the same podium in Australia. I had Charles up there, but after the Australia race where McLaren should have been 1-2, I was like, you know what? Yeah, and Mercedes just seems like they're better than Ferrari at the moment. So okay, so that's how I came up with that one. Yeah. That's the strategy, you know. So now you have the secret sauce.
I think George does look good here. Like, I think he did pretty well given the car last season.
What did you say?
Right?
He finished P6?
He finished P6, 7, 8, 9. He finished P7.
Yeah, but given the car, like that Mercedes was not hot at the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
And he finished 2 places ahead of Lewis. Like, I mean, I could see him do well.
So what is our total right now? All right, so one of you two's got to go first.
No, you got to go first.
I got to go first?
Yeah, you're the leader. That's how that works.
Dang it.
You can't just pass it to me this week again.
Hey, slow your roll. I'm not used to leading. Okay, I don't know how it works.
This is a new
This
concept
is his first podcast.
This is my first time. Okay. Do I do my whole podium?
I mean, talk through it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lando's going to win this week.
Okay.
To go with my whole, they're going to keep switching, and they don't really know who's going to actually be number 1.
Okay.
So since I went perfect last week, I'm going to go crazy this week, right?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Makes it easier for me.
Put Yuki up in your podium.
Oscar is not on my podium at all.
Okay.
I'm going Lando, Charles Max.
Okay.
I don't hate that podium.
Ferrari eventually is going to be getting podiums.
So that's
and
locked
it's going to
in.
be soon. That's locked in. I'm done.
So that's locked
Lando,
in.
Charles,
I don't think
Max.
Charles is touching the podium.
It's gonna happen soon.
I don't think it will happen
Now
soon.
second place is I don't know about that, but
Yeah, that was a crazy call.
Yeah.
But I like it. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Max will be on the podium this week.
You know, I feel like I owe you an apology, by the way, because last week Joe and I were like, now tell me why you think Max won't be on the podium. And when we were watching the race, I commented on that, and then Max fell back to fourth, and George was holding third, and I was like, oh.
I would personally like to apologize. I called you delusional. I'm sorry.
Well, it
He was
appears
close.
It
He was
appears
close.
I
He was
have
right there.
the same amount of memory as a dog, so I have apparently forgotten
That's
how
good.
rude you guys were. So I'll have to go back and listen again.
Damn.
Well,
Or unless this is in messages, then I have it forever.
Oh, thank goodness we
Screenshot.
didn't. Thank goodness we didn't say anything in DMs. Ooh, boy,
Oh no!
we're clean.
All right, one of you guys gotta go. Who's
I
going?
think I'll go because you took it last time around. So I'm
Nope.
no. You don't think so? I'm gonna duplicate my podium from last weekend. Lando, Oscar, Max.
Lando, Oscar, Max.
Yeah, I actually do think Charles could get on the podium. You know what? Let's do Lando, Oscar, Charles. Let's do Lando, Oscar. I do think Charles could maybe make it to the podium. Oh, but
Oscar.
Max has always been. Hold on, don't put that in
Lando,
that third spot
Oscar.
yet.
Lando, Oscar. Right now is all I got on there.
Who are you gonna put in?
Wouldn't you like to know?
love to know.
Weather boy.
It's not gonna be Charles. You're just talking crap on Charles.
He was not saying Charles. It's
Charles
true.
wins the
So that
race.
could be a good opportunity to get a leg up on him. But I mean, like with how we have it set up, if he's not in the podium, I just don't get a point. So
That's
like,
crazy.
man, you know,
I don't.
Yeah.
let's do all right. Lando, Oscar, Max. I think
Lando,
that's probably
Oscar,
my best
Max.
option. Yeah.
Locked.
Locked. He's
That's
in.
locked. All right.
I already
So
gave
let's
you
talk
6
about
points.
our winner and why it's going to be Yuki Tsunoda. No. Don't you
Locked.
write that down.
He's talking.
Don't you write that down.
Boy, it would be interesting though if you.
So you said Lando, and you said Oscar's not in your podium at all.
He is not.
So
he's gonna be P4.
back-to-back Oscar wins? Is that what's happening this weekend?
No.
Ooh, maybe.
That would be
no way.
wicked.
No way. Not gonna happen.
He's pretty
You
quick.
locking it?
Put Oscar in first.
Yeah.
Locking it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I wanted
So
to go
followed
opposite
by
of him.
Lando.
But
Yeah.
I wanted to go opposite of
And
Smelty.
here comes Ocon.
Yeah.
Coming
No,
in
don't
at
be
30.
silly. Yuki Tsunoda.
Oh, why did
no,
they-
I'm kidding.
Why did
It's
they-
gonna be Max,
Oh
yeah.
boy, I fucked.
Is it going to be Max?
Yeah.
No, George Russell.
Yeah, that's probably safe. Honestly.
Honestly,
you
like
might have to
I
look
said
at
it.
one
I
of
said it
these
as soon as
here.
we went in. I was like, George Russell did look pretty good on this track last year, given the car, and we see how he's racing right
adding
now.
it right off the rip ski.
No, yeah, that's okay. That's
oh
okay.
wait,
yeah.
I gotta
Once
put in
you,
one
if you
more.
add them all, then it'll settle.
So
out.
who's 3? I'm sorry, I missed it.
George Russell.
George, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Hey, George has gotten me a bunch of points this year. So
Yeah,
far.
he
Actually,
has.
George is the only one.
George has gotten you all your points for the most part.
Yeah,
George-
pretty much.
Yeah, George has been good for me.
That's man. George is a good pick. I think.
Actually, George has gotten you half of your points this season.
I know. I just realized.
Yeah,
he
he's
really
got
has.
literally
He really has.
4 of your 8 points.
And
are
I'm
George
deciding
Russell,
to leave him off my podium. Why?
which is hilarious.
You know,
Too late.
so-
No backsies.
Oh no,
He's mine. You can't take him from me.
I'm not confident in Charles getting second, but I'm confident in Charles getting on the podium. I am more confident on Charles getting on the podium than Max right now.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, I'm still on the Max train.
Do I need
That's
to grab
fine.
the hat?
I think this will probably be the last weekend I'm on the Max train.
I guess he's only got one eye out.
What happened?
I don't know.
Max?
I guess I put a post-it note on there on X.
It was just getting too easy for him to drive, so he drives with one eye now.
Cyclops Verstappen.
I
He's
do
trying
think-
to make it a challenge.
I do think if Max doesn't podium, well, he got 4th though.
He got
so
4th.
I have a right to put him on my podium. I still think, but there comes a point of diminishing returns where I'm like, Max is not a viable option anymore.
He was
you know.
5 seconds behind George.
5 seconds behind George.
Yeah.
You're locked, son.
George started 2nd though.
George did start second. That is a good point.
I think I'm okay. I'm okay with.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
changing,
I'm not changing anything. I'm
If
just
he
saying
were
for
to change, it
future
would be Charles.
for future predictions. The thing is like I respect the Ferraris, but like they were still not they were not up there.
Their pace is on the way. It's on the way.
It's on the way. I will agree.
I
it's
am
on the way.
convinced
Get
that
out of here,
Ferrari
Max.
will be in. Get from here.
2 to 3.
I am convinced Ferrari will be in the battle
2 to 3 weeks shipping.
at some point.
U.S. Postal. Pace will arrive. If it does
And hey,
not, please call us back.
Maybe those like severe not penalties, but those rule
Those
changes.
changes could
maybe
change a lot
Mercedes and
this
McLaren
weekend.
just drop. God, I hope that's not the
Maybe
case.
it's an all Haas.
That'd be
podium.
crazy. I
all Haas.
So I actually heard something.
Remember, everybody else
everyone
wrecks.
else
We've talked
disqualify?
about this before. Yeah.
I heard something that's got me
Wrong
mortified.
wing.
I like my gut fell out of my butt when I heard about this.
Oh, no.
Was like
That sounds
I heard
like a
that,
medical concern.
Yeah. I didn't go into the doctor. It was. I heard that Haas has apparently been very much so benefiting from this flexi win, and I'm like, no. I'm like, if that's the case, I'm like. We're doomed.
So
P9 might,
P20.
yeah, P9 might be real.
P19,
Dang
P20.
it.
I'm like, oh no.
Man. Rough.
So I really hope that that's not the case, and that they are not
That's
relying
so
off of.
And
this
if it is the
flexi.
case, you're gonna order a Cadillac hat.
No.
Start prepping.
What? No, Audi comes in next year. Are you kidding me?
He's gonna go full out. His outfit is changing next year.
So like,
the full
like
Audi.
how he said that, like he's like, I'm a McLaren guy. Like in every like racing game I've ever
You're
played,
Audi.
I've always snapped to Audi.
Oh
so,
snap! Okay, so now we'll have an Audi guy, and you're still gonna have
Haas will be
room
my
in your
other
heart
team.
for Haas.
Yeah, Haas will be my second team for sure.
And then Aston's, you're dropping them.
Aston will be
selling
not in my
your
top
hat.
3.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
fall out of the podium.
Not in your top 3. Oh, well,
your third?
McLaren.
McLaren, yeah,
McLaren's
McLaren.
gonna be
I love
his third.
McLaren.
That's fair.
And I like
Because,
the
well, they're winning,
drivers. I
so.
like the manufacturer for
If
McLaren.
they don't win this WDC, I'm trading it in.
It's done. I'm hanging up the
This is a
hat.
one-sided relationship.
I'm not getting anything out of this.
No. I look like
my
an
God.
idiot.
Oh man, Mike, thanks for being here this week.
Thank you for having me. As
Glad you were
always.
able to make it. Mm-hmm. He was a game time decision, by the way,
Yeah, that was crazy.
and the decision was that he was going to be here, which is awesome.
Yeah, I try to be here as much as I can.
Yeah, heck
Thank
yeah.
my boss.
Yep, thank you, Mike's boss,
Shout out Mike's boss.
Jake or something.
Tyler, looking at you,
Tyler.
Tyler. I
There's
will
a
make
lot
sure
of
Tyler
Tylers.
watches this
Yeah,
now.
There's a lot of Tylers, you know.
Too many.
Joe,
Tyler? I know
obviously
Smelty.
you were here this week. Awesome. Oh, that's true. My name, you do only know me as
No, I
Smelty,
do.
just
No,
realized
actually,
that.
what's funny is that like I started calling you Tyler.
Here this week. That's cool. Thanks for doing the bare minimum.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean,
Thanks for doing up the
Bro.
speed. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Let's. Yeah. It's
Awesome.
fine.
Joe's going back on
Texting
his
mom
phone.
again.
Yeah.
Mom.
Oh, he's
Are you
calling
here
her
yet?
this time. I've been waiting for an hour.
Oh shoot.
Oh my god.
Smelty,
Anyway,
thank you
okay.
for hosting and being here.
Yeah, no, I feel like we don't thank
Obviously.
you.
Yeah,
So
obviously.
Obviously.
I know you have a choice, and
yeah.
you choose to be here. So
we don't actually give him a choice. We tie him up,
Yeah,
and
well,
we keep him chained up
yeah.
over
he's
in
actually
that
sitting
direction.
here all the time.
He doesn't leave the
I
chair.
don't move. I've grown one with the chair.
We do bring him food and water once a day at least.
Well, someone does, I think.
I don't. I just assumed someone does.
Yeah, okay. I'm done.
Kept shaking his
I
hand.
can send that out. Yeah, anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to the banter, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. And we will see you not next week. We have next week off, but the week after that, after the Japanese GP, where Yuki will win his home race potentially, and none of us picked him.
To give a quick plug for a different banter, you might still see us next week, but somewhere else. So keep an eye out for that.
Where else are they going to see us?
I mean, same
If
channel,
it's not
just
on
a different
YouTube,
name.
oh,
you know?
It'll be here.
Yeah.
Just
We
Same
might not
name,
be doing
different
Fast Laps next
content?
week, but we might do something else. Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit of
We might
testing.
post our testing.
Yeah. You know, we'll
you
see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, is Bahrain testing? Is that videotaped? For the most part, yeah, I would.
We did
Was
preseason,
that-
you know.
Yeah, that's whatever. Anyway, let's get out of here. Let's go. All right,
Goodbye,
bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Good. Thanks
Bye.
for coming.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.